Bohol, as an island province in central Philippines, is vulnerable to disasters, such as those caused by extreme weather conditions. In 2016, Bohol was declared under a state of calamity due to a drought that cost 313 million pesos in damages to crops. The province was again placed under a state of calamity when on December 16, 2021, Super Typhoon Odette made a destructive landfall in Bohol. According to the Provincial Agriculture Office, the damages brought about by the Category 5 typhoon was estimated at 3.1 billion pesos for the agriculture sector and 583 million pesos for the fishery sector. The province also lies near active fault lines that make it vulnerable to earthquakes. On October 15, 2013, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Bohol, totally destroying 44,430 houses and leaving 222 people killed. The damage was estimated to reach 2.5 billion pesos. Farmers, who remain to have the highest poverty incidence at 30%, according to the latest Philippine Statistics Authority survey, comprise majority of Bohol's population. With farming income that continues to decline due to high production cost brought about by expensive commercial farm inputs and the weakening purchasing power vis-a-vis inflation rate that remains to be the highest in Southeast Asia, farmers have become one of the most vulnerable sectors in the face of such calamities and disasters. Against this backdrop, the Chameleon Disaster Service International, Farmers Development Center, and Rural Missionaries of the Philippines, with funds from the Italian Bishops' Conference, embarked on a journey towards helping Bohol farmers respond better to disaster and climate change. Consequently, the staff of FARDEC responsible for the project's implementation were given orientations and trainings. The project's objective was set to be realized in 3 years through implementing its 4 significant components. However, the implementation was delayed and stretched to 2 more years due to the COVID-19 pandemic travel restrictions and lockdowns. The project commenced in 2018 through a multidimensional poverty assessment survey. The survey served as a tool to specifically identify farming communities where our intervention would mainly focus. In these communities, people's organizations were established as venue for unities and other undertakings. Hand in hand with these organizations, orientations and trainings regarding land rights, sustainable agriculture, and community health in relation to climate change and disaster response were carried out. Some of these organizations were facing land dispute issues, particularly the Catoogan Farmers Association in Barangay Catoogan, Trinidad, and United Farmers of Tubog in Barangay Tubog, Ubay. The existence of these agrarian issues hindered any long-term investment or endeavor concerning sustainable practices that aimed to alleviate the effects of disasters and climate change on communities where farmers' land rights are under constant threat. Along this line, FARDEC and CADIS supported the farmers' legal struggle to defend their land through conducting case consultations with lawyers while implementing other project components. Among essential essential components of our intervention is the establishment of water systems that address the dire need for safe drinking water, which is a basic human right, and water for irrigation of their backyard vegetable gardens and demonstration farms where sustainable agriculture technology would be applied. These communities have been struggling for decades with gaining access to clean drinking water. In Barangay La Suerte, Pilar, farmers, particularly members of the La Suerte Farmers Organization or KLM, have to descend to a valley 500 meters from the main road to fetch drinking water from a well. For a few who own carabaos, they were able to fetch 4 containers at most and have these carried by a carabao-drawn cart. But for the majority, they have to manually carry their water containers and climb back on a 45-degree slope. United Farmers of San Francisco in Ubay have to fetch water from a source located 1 kilometer away, while in Barangay Katuogan, members of COFA have to buy drinking water for 30 pesos per container. This is a huge cut from their already severely deficient income as farm workers. The successful building of water systems partly resolved some of the community's health problems that were caused by poor hygiene and sanitation due to lack of access to water, such as diarrhea and other gastrointestinal diseases. In the past, these diseases could have spread quickly and worsened due to the lack of public health facilities that provide primary healthcare services. However, with our intervention in the form of community-based health skills trainings levels 1 and 2, we were able to develop community health workers and health committees in each organization who were capacitated to administer first aid and perform vital signs monitoring on fellow farmers. They were trained to make herbal medicines and promote these as cheap and accessible remedies for some common diseases. They also perform home visits to seek members of the organization to apply home remedies, and if needed, facilitate referrals to the nearest rural health centers or hospitals. They launch health campaigns such as the 4 o'clock habit, which enjoin the community to clean their surroundings and weed out dengue breeding sites every 4 o'clock in the afternoon. To abate the effects of disasters to their already dismal socio-economic position, FARDEC conducted sustainable agriculture trainings by introducing the Diversified Integrated Farming System, or DIFS, that promotes growing of varied climate-resilient crops at the same time instead of relying only on one crop such as rice. With this practice, the unharmed resilient crops on one hand will compensate for the damaged ones in the event of calamities. In these trainings, farmers were also taught how to make organic fertilizers and pesticides as alternative to expensive commercial farm inputs, which were the main cause of soil degradation. Aside from gradually restoring land fertility, the application of these organic inputs greatly reduced farmers' production cost, thereby increasing their income. The increased income make farmers better prepared economically whenever disasters hit. This was tested when Super Typhoon Odette barreled through Bohol and devastated large swaths of farmlands in areas where our partner people's organizations were situated. In the midst of extremely delayed and scarce relief assistance from the government, what tied the farmers over for a few weeks were the food that they were able to store because of slightly increased income and undamaged resilient crops such as cassava and sweet potato because of practicing sustainable agriculture.
Mo na nakadagbenta ha sa organic kay magana magsaka agi mo hang topsoil sa juta mo kuan man kanang nay mo tabunot man ang imuhang tuta. Di nagdugang ang imuhang kuan, ang imong tambok sa juta. Kaysa mo gamit kag komersyal nga kuan kanang abono, mo anam og dako imong gasto sa abono, ang imong yuta pod mag-anam pod og kaumaw. Kay di ka mo gamit og di ka mo dugang, muubos og kita sa datong usa ka sako og di ka mo dugang og tungag sako.
Trainings on community-based disaster risk reduction management and the establishment of disaster preparedness committees, including early warning systems and hazard mapping, helped curb the effects of Typhoon Odette. The community evacuation drills also prepared them for future emergency situations. As we have journeyed together, these communities have reached a certain level of empowerment, manifested in their courageous assertion of their land rights and to avail social services and other government programs. However, for insisting their rights, PO members were wrongfully tagged by state forces as part of the communist movement, causing them to be maliciously labeled as armed rebels at times. Despite this, the farmers have continued to assert their legitimacy and stand in defiance by processing their organization's accreditation with concerned government agencies. With this, they have improved their engagement with the local government units to bring up community concerns. Our project may have ended, but it will continue to serve farmers for many years to come.
Magpasalamaton kami sa proyekto nato sa tubig nga ani-ana karon labi na sa kalayo nga mo ang kausanan nga gikan sa ubos mga 400 meters nga dayon karon napasayo na kay ani-ana karon ang tubig sa among natad. Dako kami pasalamat sa Chameleon Disasters Service International kon CADIS o CEI o partnership nga ang FARDEC.
Dako din mi pasalamat sa CADIS kay sa FARDEC kay na himo na jud ang tubig nga limpyo nga inunan.
Tuyong-tuyo ang tag-ulan.